torn apart, eaten alive. A sheepdog is there to defend them. I'm a sheepdog. I can't change that. You know, has my company been negatively impacted from that from time to time? Yes, it has. Have relationships that I've been in suffered because of it, because I put other people before I put myself and sometimes my family? Yes, it has. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm a hero for doing this. It's who I am. Some see it as a flaw. Others see it as, I'll just use a word that someone mentioned earlier, and I would never use this word on me because I am not, but somebody said it was heroic. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. That's all I know how to be.
I am what I am. I love that.
And there was a time in my life, Joe, that I used to pretend I wasn't me because I didn't like me, and I used to try to pretend I was other people, and I didn't like that either. So what you see is what you get nowadays.
Isn't it so much easier, Larry?
It is.
Isn't it so much easier? Because I got to that point. It took a lot of peeling away the onion skins, and you know, a lot of people in Craig Duswalt's mastermind, people like you, Marianne Amon.
Yeah, great people.
It was definitely a team effort. But today, I don't have to act. You know, I'm the same person with my clients as I am with my kids, and you know, and to say, listen, if that's a flaw, Larry, it's a great flaw to have. You know, and so
well, I think what I try to do is think about that people are always watching. I'm not doing this for other people, but if I'm not living my authentic self, people can smell out a fraud very quickly, very quickly.
Yeah.
And family members are really good at that. And I am very cognizant that I've got two younger ones who look up to me, and those are my children, especially my 16-year-old son, right? Yeah. And it's important that he see that I'm the guy who's willing to pull the car off the side of the road when I see an accident, not the guy who drives away, you know? And that's the role I'm playing in my organization right now.
And I believe it. And I believe that attitude, people like you, is what's going to bring us out of this. Not only bring us out of this, but a lot of people are going to be stronger for it.
That's my hope.
You know, you gave me a chapter in my book. I don't know if you remember this, tenacity, in my book, From Myths to Money. And I got to tell you, there were times when I was feeling sorry for myself. I was at low points, and I just bring that chapter out. I read it, and it was, you know, that's what we have to do, I believe. So please share with people here your take on as far as for small businesses, because people are panicking, they're rushing to make decisions. You know, it's very confusing with this SBA stuff. And what is your take on all this?
What's my take on all the business stuff? So I'm going to try to multitask here because for your viewers, I was on my laptop. I had to switch to my phone. I just got noticed that my battery is running low on my phone. I'm going to try to switch back to my laptop here as we do that. I'm going to try to multitask this. So what do I think is going on here? Well, listen, Joe, I think that the SBA is not ready for this. If I'm being really honest with you, I've spoken to dozens of bank presidents and people who are a lot smarter than me at this. Sorry, folks, for the hands and all that kind of stuff. But there are a lot of banks who aren't even ready for this. I was talking to, who was I talking to earlier today? Sorry, all the days blend together. But they were saying that just today, Saturday, they're making more changes to Melissa, who's our office manager. She was talking to somebody from the SBA, and they are saying today they're making more changes and that they're going to roll them out on Monday. Listen, I think that if you are in need, like today, you should apply. That's just me. If you are absolutely in need. If you aren't in need, you have until June 30th to apply. Let the people who are really in need apply. Let them get their stuff. All right, because they are. What I have heard, I've heard that they're going to run out very quickly, but that government. They are going to fund this thing. But listen, we're at unprecedented times, Joe. No one has any idea how this thing is going to shake out. I know it's going to be a total cluster. It absolutely will be a cluster. But for those small businesses, which is most of the country, for most of those small businesses, the money is not going to get here in time. It's just not. It is weeks away. And as much as I hate this, reality is our friend. I don't like reality right now. I don't. And so is it possible for me to switch over, Joe, to this other?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it looks like it says, please wait. The meeting host will let you in soon.
Oh, okay. You want me to?
Yeah, drop me on this one and bring me on the other one.
Admit. Okay, I think it worked.
All right, and I'm going to drop off of here.
Oh, wow, amazing. Actually, I got you in twice now. Are you there? Okay, we'll wait. Oh, there we got.
There we go.
Oh, wow. Okay. Holy
How's
crap,
that?
it worked.
It's as if I've used this before.
Yeah. People would think that we're experts at this.
Yeah. So what I was saying though is that there are things are changing. It's an absolute crap show out there with all these, and it's changing dynamics very quickly. Let people in front of you on the line. It's like let's offer a little grace. It's not grace. It's not like you got to run to the airplane door because you got an assigned seat. You're going to get a seat on the plane. It's not like that. So if you can let the people who are in real need get it, that would be really, really helpful, because most small businesses do not have enough cash flow to make it through to the end, which is why I did this plea publicly. And we could talk about the whole thought process getting there, but I owe it to my team members. I owe it to my clients.
Okay. So I want to get to that, Larry, but you said a few things that are really, really important here.
What's that?
You said if you're in need, right? Can you explain that a little more?
Well, I think that some people are seeing this as a money grab. Let's be honest.
I agree.
And I think that is, in a word, sinful. I think it's gluttonous. I've heard enough business owners talk about it. That what, $10,000? Wow, I'll go get that. But do you need it when you're a fellow citizen? Listen, my friends. This country is in an economic crisis right now. More people will die. More businesses will fail. More families will be affected negatively by this economic crisis than this coronavirus. The coronavirus is bad. I'm not telling you it's not bad. I'm not telling you that people's lives are not being hurt or injured or people are dying. I'm not saying that. I'm saying on the grand scheme of things, if we don't keep our country going economically, this is a country that was built with an economic engine. Business must work in order for people to feed, to live, to have housing. All right. And so let your brother or sister business owner, and I say that because we are all in this together, let them get a drink at the trough before you stick your snout in if you don't need it. I can't be any more graphic than that, I don't think, without actually start dropping a couple of F-bombs.
You're right. Reality, people don't like reality, but, I'm an accountant. I go with facts.
Yeah.
And I've been telling people, similar, listen, if you suffer, first of all, you have had to have suffered an economic injury to even qualify. And I see people just rushing thinking that this, 10 grand is going to be easy money. And, I didn't think of it in the way you thought of it, that, there's other people in need and now we're clogging up the lines. Yeah. But now you also brought up something that came up today, which I wasn't aware of, that, it's not enough money, right?
No.
And we're going to hit the cap.
Yes.
So people are worried about that. Now, what do they do about that?
I wish I had an answer. I wish I had an answer. And the truth is, I don't know anyone who has a real answer. I hear platitudes. I like that you talked about the word injury, because the second letter in the EIDL is injury, economic injury, disaster loan. So if you've been injured, has it been disastrous? And it's probably easy for me to sit here to say that when, listen, our revenue's gone to, from millions to zero.
Overnight.
Zero. Day in and day out, week in and week out, and it looks like it's going to continue on. I would say that that's disastrous. But if you're off 3%, 5%, even 10%, is that disastrous? It might be for you. Then you need to make a moral decision. Do I step in line in front of somebody else first? I'm not saying me first. I am not saying me first. Right. We all have to make decisions based on the information and the life we're in. Listen, there are some companies that do run tiny, skinny margins, and 2% means the difference between survivability and death, right? So only you can make that decision. But I do know for a fact, I've heard the gluttonous conversations that they look at it as free money. Let me get out there and just get mine.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong. So is it going to be enough? I don't know. I've got friends that are kind of in high places, and they work with, certain nameless senators,
right,
who have said, hey, if we run out of this, like the PPP program, right? The payroll protection, or paycheck, I guess they're calling it now.
Right.
Paycheck protection plan or program, that they will fund that if it runs out, because there was talk it was going to run out today.
Wow.
There was talk it was going to run out Sunday.
Wow.
Because, well, listen, there are 30 million small businesses in the country.
Yeah.
What infrastructure can handle that, right? We already hear that we can't process, the government can't even process unemployment claims, and they're expecting small banks to process them when the banks don't even know where they're going to get their money refunded from. What if somebody defaults? Who covers that? And they're only making 0.5% on each of these loans. They don't have the staff to do it. So here's the way I think we need to look at this. Everything, when you go shopping, when you go to apply for a loan, when you're going to a bank, we are on a war footing. I think that we ought to look at this like this is World War II, but it's really World War III. Wow. And what do? Things are going to slow down, and we are all in this together. And so, listen, I'll argue with anybody who doesn't think that we ought to be on a war footing right now. I wish we weren't. I want people to get back to work. Hey, I was having a conversation with a guy earlier today who I love and adore, and he is the CEO of a very large mastermind program where they've got 500 businesses, like high-end, big-dollar businesses. And we were talking about, like, we wrestle with this. At what point do you get people back to work? Because he and I knew some of the same people who took their own lives after the 2008 downturn.
Wow.
2008, whenever that was.
Yeah.
2007, whenever the crash was. Like within a couple of weeks when the market tanked. This is worse, and it's going to go on longer. So I don't know. These are conversations that we have to have, but I think it's got to start small at home. This is why the service thing, I think, is so important.
Yeah. Well, you disappointed me, Larry. I thought you was going to give us like the answer.
Well, listen, you've heard me say this before, right? Even when I give answers, I usually give a caveat. And that caveat is usually everything I tell you may be wrong.
Yeah, you told me that with Dave Broughton like a month ago. We were on the call and you said, everything I tell you might be wrong. And I was like,
might be. You're asking for my opinion.
Well,
right?
then
No, I'm asking. So here's the thing. Because here's why I started saying that. Because at the end of the day, we are only responsible for ourselves and our own decisions and that of our family members,
Right.
And if we can't put our big boy pants and big girl pants on and take responsibility for our own decisions, instead of saying, well, Larry told me this. Well, you're the one who pulled the trigger, not Larry. Right? So
I agree.
I think that we've got to do that. I think that we have just coddled our ourselves and our society and our fellow citizens so much, no one wants to take responsibility for anything. This is why I finally just kicked myself in the rear and stood up and said, no one is going to do this for me. I need to step into the gap. Have to step into the gap.
Yeah, and let's, one thing I want people to understand, I'm a small business guy. I deal with solopreneurs, sole proprietors.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were so many of them out there, but there's a ripple effect. I don't know how many people you employ, but they're not working now. That means they're not shopping. They're not buying gas. I mean, it goes on and on. So
what I encourage people to do, if you're a business owner or you're a manager or a leader, is do what is called a sphere of influence. A sphere of influence. Take a piece of paper and list, here's the number of family members I have. Here's the number of team members. We call them team members. Here's the number of people that I employ. Here's the number of family members in each of those team members. Here are all my vendors, their family members, and just start listing all the people. If I make one decision, all these lives are impacted by it, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it gets a little weighty at times. It's called the long tail. What's the long tail on my decision? A lot of impact, right? And so yeah, it gets pretty heavy when you start thinking that it's not just me. So yeah, we've got hundreds of employees. Then you got all their family members, and then when you add in all the vendors who aren't selling us goods anymore, it's funny. I've seen almost a spike in sales emails to the hotel industry right now. You can tell there's a level of desperation.
Yeah.
And I've had to respond to someone and say, you are aware that there virtually is no hotel industry right now, right? So it's a little sad, but it's where it is. Yeah.
So let's talk about, your email today and what you were asking, why you were asking for it, and how, most important, how we could help support you and your people.
Well, listen, if those people haven't seen it, then on all of my social media platforms, there's a video. And Joe, this might get emotional, and so I apologize in advance, but that's who I am. I love my team members. I love the work that I do. And it breaks my heart as a leader, in some ways the leader of the organization, that people's lives have been negatively impacted by no fault of their own. None. Zero. It's not like they came in and slugged a guest one day, or they stole from us. It's not that. These are good people who are now out of jobs. So I'm in the hotel industry. I guess you probably told people that. We've got hotels throughout California. We have 4 awesome ones in Chicago as well. And I've got great clients. The idea is that as a hotel makes money, I get paid a fee of that because we're the ones operating it. Well, guess what? When those hotels aren't making money, I don't get paid. My team members don't get paid that are in the home office. The owners and clients of these hotels aren't going to pay. They're great people. They're amazing people, but they're doing the same thing that we are. When you buy a multi-million-dollar hotel asset, you've got a mortgage on that. There are covenants on that, which means you have to have debt service coverage ratios. You have to have so much money coming in to cover the debt or cover the mortgage. And if you don't, the bank can take it back from you. Well, guess what? Virtually every hotel in the country right now is in default. Wow. Some kind of material default. Think about that. Get your frickin' brain around that one, right? And so our clients need us. I want to keep my team members employed. Our revenues have been absolutely decimated. Any kind of reserve that our hotels and we have had has been decimated because, as I said in my video, who budgets for 100% decline in revenue for any period of time? Nobody, right? So having really dug in deep to some of these economic recovery programs, realizing that is not going to save us, I have been burning the phone lines, going to banks, doing everything I can, and it's the classic. Listen, I've learned a lot of lessons during this whole thing. It's the classic: when you need money, people aren't willing to give you money. Is that a fair statement, my friend, Mr.
Listen,
CPA?
I had one of my first mentors told me a long time ago, a banker is somebody that gives you an umbrella when it's sunny out and he wants to take it back when it starts raining.
It's a great analogy. It's
Okay.
great.
And
That's a great word picture. Yeah. Yeah. So, I've had investors in the past, and I've gone to them, since all of this, and said, "Hey, here's where we are. You know who we are as an organization. You know we've got a good track record with you. Can we work out something? Some kind of forgivable note, some kind of convertible note, anything,
right.
And guess what they're saying? Dude, I love you, but I'm cash poor right now. I just lost $80 million in the stock market. That's literally one of the conversations, right?
Yeah, I believe.
And I live in a great house. I don't know that I'm going to pay my mortgage this month. And I've heard that countless times, not like 10 times, not like 20 times, not like even 50 times. Believe me, I have been burning the phone lines as much as possible. But what I kept hearing from people is, "Hey, I've got $50. I've got $100.
Wow.
I've got $1,000. And I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I realized it was pride getting in the way, what they say, one of the seven deadlies, right? And I was concerned about what would people think of me, all the negative demons in my head. And finally, I had some loved ones who kind of slapped me around yesterday and last night and said, "You have to turn over every stinking rock that's out there." And they were saying, "Listen, how many people have you helped in your life? How many people have you stepped into the gap when you didn't need to and offered them either a piece of wisdom or some coaching or some mentoring or pulled money out of your pocket, out of your bank account to help them?" It's like, "Yeah, but again, I'm the sheepdog. That's what I do. That's who I am." "Well, why don't you ask for help?" is what people kept telling me. So I have an absolutely real need to keep my team members employed. And this is not like Larry's making a lot of money. I'm sitting around. I've not taken a paycheck since February 15th, and neither of our senior executives in our organization. Everything I have is in this company. Have I said that? Everything. I don't have millions of dollars sitting in a bank account. I'm like a lot of entrepreneurs. If on paper it looks like you've got a lot, but there's nothing to cash out. There's nothing. So this is kind of in some ways a Hail Mary, but I do believe, I do have faith. It's so funny because yesterday, like I recorded that video last night, yesterday morning, I was doing my morning readings, and in the book of Proverbs, it talked about the power and freedom that comes with and favor that comes with humility and a humble heart. And I realized those are things I struggle with, Joe, all the time. Being humble and having a spirit of humility about me. On my best days, I do pretty good at it, but I can feel the ego sneak in from time to time. And I'm really good. You've heard me talk about it. I'm really good about telling people they need to ask for help. And I love it when people ask me for help. Maybe it's my Messiah complex. I like to help people, but I am not good about asking for help for myself.
That's, I always looked at you as one of the most humble people that I've ever met in my life. Because, listen, you're off the charts successful. I mean, you were Green Beret, special ops. It's like you're the kind of guy that everything you do turns to gold. And yet, you would come to Craig's mastermind groups and sit with 5 or 6 of us, beginning entrepreneurs, and give your time.
Yeah.
And that meant not just to me. I think everybody saw that. So for you to listen.
Well, listen. Here's why I do that. I have made so many mistakes, Joe. So many mistakes. Cost so much money. Burned through a marriage. In the early days, was not the greatest of fathers to my kids, and I did not want that to happen to other people. I did not want it to happen.
Okay. And
I'm a big believer that we, the people, are the best thing for this country, not the government. The government, I'm sorry, folks, for the most part, they're not going to save our bacon. They are good. They're doing an admirable job fighting this crisis right now, right? They're doing probably the best that we can do. And you can be a critic all day long, but until you step into the gap and you are the leader making these tough decisions, I don't want to hear. I do not want to hear you bitching, moaning, complaining how you're going to do it so much better. It is easy to sit back and throw darts and sling arrows at people, but until you have stood in my shoes, F you. I'm sorry, that's just where I am.
No, I understand.
That's where I am. So I think the humility and the humbleness comes from having made so many mistakes. And I love entrepreneurs. Everything that the government wants to do, I think that entrepreneurs can do better. And if people want real wealth, now it's real risk, but if you want real wealth, it's in business ownership. It's not working for somebody else. Rarely, I shouldn't say rarely working for somebody else. Real wealth, real legacy changing comes from entrepreneurship. And because of that, I think that entrepreneurship and leadership are intertwined so strongly. That's why I teach and train so much on leadership, because I don't think you can be a successful entrepreneur if you're not a successful leader. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of my 13 principles. Listen, you want to, I don't care if it's a hot dog stand, you're the leader of the hot dog stand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, I have faith too, Larry. I have faith in people. I have faith in the entrepreneurial spirit, because what I see is the people that aren't sitting on their hands and they're in the solution, they're going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the good news, I think, for people like you is we're all in the same freaking boat.
Yeah.
All the hotels, airline, everybody. And if we don't pull together, we're all done.
Yeah.
And if we think we're going to rely on the government to fix this, we're shot. The government will do what they can. Could you imagine if you're a bank president right now, how are they handling all the applications?
Not well. I've spoken to dozens of them in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, listen, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And that's why when I saw your email, I jumped to contribute.
Well, Joe, I appreciate that so much. I got a call, or actually the text last week, knowing that this was coming up, knowing that I am like on the edge. And it was from, it might be somebody that you know, actually, who runs a small service business, I should say. It's more of a service solopreneur business. And she wanted me to buy one of her services. And it's like, well, you do understand, number one, that basically people are in quarantine, number one, so that's a problem. And number two, I'm fighting my own battles. I wish I could help you out. But I can't. And she literally said to me, "Oh, but you're a millionaire." And it's no, for starters. Oh, but you're a millionaire. Don't you have money saved? And I was like, I had explained to her, like what you and I have been talking about. I mean, Joe, at CPA, you see people's financials, right? You can have assets or have investments in assets. That does not mean that you are liquid for anything. I know a lot of people have big houses and cars and they can't go out to the movies, right? I'm not that. I do not live extravagantly by any means, because everything that I have has been into building my company, right? But after going back and forth, she said to me, I can't even buy groceries right now. I've got my, I forget it was gas or electric bill that needs to be paid. And so I made the decision, and I Venmo'd her $100,
Okay.
$100 I didn't have, but I did it anyway out of faith that, Larry, this is who you really are. I felt so crappy telling her no, but when I sent her the $100, there was so much joy that she gave back, and the thanks from it. That's all I'm asking people to do right now.
Yeah.
You know me, I would not be asking if there wasn't a really, really real felt need.
And that's why I jumped on it. They said, what else can I do? And, I'm here. Anything else that if I could spread the word.
Well, this is awesome. Spreading the word is awesome. If you've got listeners on here and they want to share this, or they want to go to one of my social media pages and share the video and take a look at it, I would be really honored if people would contribute to help me keep my team members employed. Because
okay, so just so people understand, this is to keep your key people employed so that they could take care of their family. This money isn't going to you.
No,
no.
This is to keep people employed. Like I said, I've got 2 senior executives who've not taken it, and they're vital to the organization, right?
Right.
We still have we have 3 or actually 5 hotels that are still operating, but they're operating like single digits. They're not making money. They're actually losing money while they're still open, but the bank covenants are that you've got to have them open.
Wow.
Right? You've seen some of these documents, right? If you close the doors, then we can foreclose on you, right? Because they want the value of these assets to stay open, right? So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place on this, and banks are trying to figure it out as we go along as well.
Yeah.
So it's important that people understand that I've got team members, just like you probably have team members, who need not life insurance, medical insurance. They need to be paying the bills, or there's that ripple effect, right?
Yeah, listen, we're all in this together. Like the 2008, you could go down the line. There aren't too many instances where this isn't just us, it's the whole freaking world.
Yeah, the big difference though between 2008 and now. 2008, it dropped a little bit. It was, and unemployment dipped, right? Unemployment here skyrocketed. It absolutely skyrocketed overnight. People lost their jobs overnight. We've lost so much in GDP. I mean, Goldman Sachs is expecting a 34% cut in our national GDP. I think the Great Recession was 30%.
Wow.
Get your brain around that. All right. Unemployment is going to be off the frickin' charts here, like Great Depression levels. The good news is this. I do have faith, by the way. So it's not like you're just throwing money at me and it's going to like go down the drain. I do think that, like what Goldman Sachs said, I think this is going to be a quick recovery when this is done. I think it's going to bounce back. The conversations I'm having, yes, there are some people who are being gluttonous. But what I'm seeing is I think that there is a camaraderie that's building among neighbors that I've not seen. Hey, I've lived in my neighborhood for a long time, and people are waving at each other now and talking to each other across the street. It's really kind of nutty. I think we're going to see manufacturing coming back to this country. I think you're going to start seeing more pharmaceuticals developed here in our country and not shipped overseas. So for these entrepreneurs that are listening, there will be opportunity when this thing turns around. I'm begging people to travel domestically this year. I'm not saying don't ever travel internationally, but most people in America have never traveled the 4 corners of America. This is an amazing place. Dine locally, eat locally, shop locally, travel in the U.S. Let's get our brothers and sisters back on their feet, for crying out loud. But the need is real. The need is absolutely real. Send me to jail if it's not. How about that?
No, we don't want to send you to jail, Larry. But what we do want to do is help you, support you. And that's not, when we're supporting you, to me, we're supporting the whole country.
Yes.
Because we got to support each other. So how do we get money to you? What's the easiest way? The
easiest way is just to go to the website where there's a video there. There's a little form you fill out, and you just choose how much you want to donate. And there's an other there. So you go to Ugozi, YOOGOZI.com/gifts. and I'm sure we can probably put it in the chat or put it in this.
I've already put it out there. I'll keep putting it out there. I'm going to share this.
So you just go there. It's very simple. Hey, I frankly, at this point, I don't like the word covet, but I covet your gifts right now. I'm being honest. I'm being honest. All right. I need them. But if you can't, I understand. And if you follow me, if I've ever helped you in your life, ever giving you a word of encouragement, you got a little nugget of inspiration one time, will you please just go and share that video, share the post to your tribe, because I want to live on and fight another day. It's who I am. It drives some of my team members nutty that I'm the eternal optimist. They want to rub my nose in our current situation a little bit. And I'm like, I'm not done. I am not done. There are too many good people out there. I've seen them. But sometimes we need a little bit of a nudge to help, to reach into that pocket a little bit. But I have a big sphere of influence, and I can tell you this. I will thank everyone personally who supports us. Absolutely. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to, shake your hand or give you a hug or whatever it's going to take, but I will pay it forward. For those who know me, I always pay it forward. And I encourage other people to pay it forward. I'm a big believer in that's what is going to make this country turn into, in the world, a kinder, more gentler place. Although it sucks, the timing may be perfect. Maybe we needed this.
My mom says this is a cleanser. It's like a wake-up call.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I see videos of people talking about like the earth is waking up again.
Yeah.
The river in Venice, all of a sudden fish showed up. People are like seeing the bottom of lakes that they never saw before.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because
it doesn't surprise me. Hey, there's power in water, particularly with that. All right. I don't want to get too cuckoo with you guys, but you've seen Dr. Yamoto's water test.
I have his book.
Japanese doctor, you put
it was water crystals. Did I lose you? Okay, so if I lost Larry there, I'll tell you what he's talking about. This doctor in Japan did a study on water crystals. And it was amazing because what he did was he took the water and he would either give, love, like literally put the words out there, love, love, love. And the crystals would come out beautiful. And then if it was hate or something bad, the crystals were like all disfigured, and it was an amazing. I have the book. It was amazing. I'm not surprised, but yeah. And so if we can't get Larry back because Zoom zoomed out, I definitely encourage you to go to his website. It's Ugozi, YOOGOZI.com/gifts. Okay, I'm going to be posting this everywhere I can. If you're watching, obviously you're watching this. If you can share it with people and just spread the word, you're not going to find another guy like Larry. He walks the walk, and I think we got him back here. Let me see. And I lost him again. So I'm just going to give him a couple of minutes here to see if he can come back and give us some, final words of wisdom. Are you there, Larry? Okay, I see him here. So, okay, unmute. You there, Larry?
Hey there.
Okay, you made it back.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
Why do you apologize so much?
Back on my phone. Because I want you to look like a rock star, Joe, and I'm looking like an amateur. I'm screwing up your...
Listen, you are Larry Broughton. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We are gonna blast this everywhere we can. You know, we
Right.
have some friends that have, you know, big reaches, and
Right.
whatever I can do. You know, when you called me last week and you said, you know, how could I help you? I laughed. I was like, how can I help you? And you, what did you say?
I don't know what I say.
You said moral support.
Yes,
That
I did
was
say
it.
that. I do
was like,
remember that.
Okay, I'll pray for him. I'll pray
Yeah.
for the, and so now is the time we could step up and help Larry Broughton, so Larry could help everyone else, because that's what it's all about, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're not just helping Larry, we're helping the people that are working for him, and then we're helping their families, and it's a ripple effect.
Yes.
You know, so Larry, I'm so grateful that you came on. I'm grateful that you're a friend of mine. Are there any words of wisdom or parting nuggets you want to share?
You know, listen, Joe, I appreciate you. I am so grateful for you. I guess, hey, if anybody wants me to come on their show and talk about this, and I'll do it. If anybody needs help when we're through this, and you need, you know, let's say that you're a contributor to this program, and you need me to come coach a leadership program or something for you, or speak at your event, you know, you're a big contributor on this thing. Let's do it. Let's do it, because I am going to fight on. One way or another, I will fight. I will stand and I will fight. You will not find me on my knees. I will not be. I'm not going to my knees. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to encourage each of you folks to do the same thing. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for what you believe in. I believe in my company because I know that we do good things. I love my team members, and I'm going to fight for them. And if you're not willing to do this, if you don't believe in your company like I do, listen, let me share this thing before I get off of here.
Okay. Listen, you got as much time as you want.
Okay. So I told you I started calling CEOs in my industry as soon as it started going south, right? Like how's it going? And I realized I needed to get vulnerable and real with them before they were ever to get vulnerable and real with me. It's funny how that is just in life, right? Everybody does this kabuki dance until somebody opens up the kimono. Like, oh, okay, you're as effed up as I am, you know? And so we all started kind of commiserating about, hey, I mean, we weren't colluding or anything. We weren't talking about pricing, but like, hey, what strategies are you deploying right now? How are you navigating this SBA stuff, right? And so I was on the phone yesterday afternoon with this hotel company CEO, and I told him what I was going to do. He's like, man, are you sure you want to do that? Really? And like, I had a lot of people telling me I shouldn't do this video. I shouldn't go out and do this public ask. And so I shot it anyway. I sent it to him, and he's like, bravo, man. That is so courageous. And it's amazing some of the feedback I've got on it. Maybe we can talk about that if we're not in a rush.
Yeah, no, I'm not in a rush.
But he said, you know what? And there are a couple of explicatives in here. So I'll try to tone it down. But he said, you're saying out loud and publicly what we're all talking about behind the scenes.
Wow.
Right? So I had a buddy of mine who's a veteran and an amazing entrepreneur as well. He said, you know, I predict that you're going to see more of these videos start to go out. People needed this. And people were saying that, like some of the the emotional outpouring from my message, the email, and the posts that go along with it has been absolutely mind-boggling. Overwhelming, mind-boggling. Good things like, you know, this is what leadership in action looks like, right? This is what courage looks like. You know, that kind of stuff. You continue to inspire. I mean, even, and I'm getting emotional again. You continue to inspire me even during a crisis, right? That's what we need. Somebody's got to step out and do this kind of stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling.
No, Larry,
I'm a little emotionally exhausted. But
you're not rambling. What I want to say here, if I'm bold enough to interrupt you,
yeah, sure.
You're walking the walk. You came out and did what other people are afraid to do, but they're feeling it. They were feeling it but they were afraid to step up and do it. And that's what I love about you. You know, whatever it takes, you stepped up to the plate. Believe me, I have an ego too. About a month ago, I had to start asking people for help in promoting me. You know, I'm trying to get out there, and I had to ask people, "Hey, can you send out an email?" And it was the first time that I really had to go and ask people for help.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was hard. And you know what? Just like you, it was me. It was my ego.
Yeah.
Because I was saying I never had to ask for help before.
Yeah.
It's not a sign of weakness. Listen, you did the right thing. I'm convinced of it. And there is going to be a positive ripple effect from this, Larry.
I hope so. I pray so. I think so. I think there will be. I don't know. I hope that we'll hit our financial goal, because I want to keep these people employed. And you know, every $50, every $1,000, every $10,000 chunk gets us a step closer to it. We're a long ways away from that right now. If I could cash in on all the emotional and moral support I've got today, I'd be, you know, I'd have blown that number out of the water a long time ago. No. So I don't want to sugarcoat this. I still need your financial support. We're a long way. We're a fraction of where I need to be on this. But if we can continue to help each other, I just want to I want to take the shine off of maybe the apple a little bit for the way you look at me. Like, yeah, I stepped up, but I didn't do it willingly at first. I had a couple of people saying, "You're being a wimp. You have to do it this way." Because I was going to hide behind just an email, and I had it all typed out. Here's what I'm going to say, and it's like nobody's. One guy in particular is like, "No one's going to read this. Who do you think you are?" You know, and he said, "You're a freaking former Green Beret. You don't have the guts to go out there and do this." And, and I had all these reasons why, and so he had to talk me through it. A friend of mine here locally, she's an amazing woman, and she was saying the same thing. She's like, "Dude, you got to do this in video. You can't do it." And she's worked with wounded warriors for years, right? And she knows who I am, and she's like, "No, pull up your pants and do it." You know, so I didn't, but you have to have people in your life like this, right? Who aren't just friends, because friends will oftentimes tell you what you want to hear. You have to have allies. Allies are more important in business than even friends. Allies will tell you what you need to hear, right? And I needed Chris and Lori to say these things to me. And once I talked it through, I was like, you're right. I got to get out of my own way. I've got to ask for help. I tell people this all the time, ask for help. Right? Yeah. And I've got to do it for myself. I've got to do it for my team members. If not, here's what somebody reminded me of last night. This is not about you. This is not about you. It's about your team members, and it's about the people that you will inspire that you don't even know, who will take the same bold step to save their company. Get your brain around that.
Yes, I believe that, Larry. I truly believe that. You know, people, you know, like that woman that called you, they have this conception that people that are successful and have money, they got the wrong conception of them. Because I know people like you, people like Craig, you know, you don't get to where you are easily. You had to work for it. And, you know, so listen, like Larry said, yeah, things are tough, but if you got a couple of extra bucks, just contribute. You know,
it will come back to you.
It will come back to you. It's a scientific fact. Yeah. You know, if you're not, you know, if your electric isn't about to get turned off and you're not worried about feeding your kid tomorrow, you know, if you got some money in the bank, let some of it go. You know,
well, yeah, I'm glad you said that. I do not want your last dime. I don't want close to your last dime. I would prefer, if you are in that position, that you do what I'm doing, right? And turning over every rock to figure out how you can survive. I'm not asking for your last dime. But if you have a little breathing room, letting your hand open. You can also accept gifts back. But if you keep it like this, you can't set things down and you can't pick things up either. You can fight, but that's it. So I don't want your last dime. But if you are there, if you can't help financially, moral support goes a long way right now. I'm telling you, it really, really does, because I don't know that I've slept in 3 weeks. I mean, not much, maybe 3 restless hours a night. And I'm fighting a battle, dude. I'm fighting a battle, right? And so there's that. And but what I could have you do is share that video, share that page to your tribe. I would love you to do that too.
That's the least that people could do. So if you're obviously I'm not going to say if you're watching this because you're watching it, but share this, and it's not just for Larry. It's for everyone. It's for the United States, because if we all do this together, that's how we're going to get through it. The SBA isn't going to save anyone. The SBA is going to give us some operating capital for a month or two.
Yeah.
Okay. We can't depend on the government to save us.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people, Joe, have been saying, well, why don't you just go to the SBA? They've got all these programs. Many people don't even know this. They don't, because many people aren't business owners, and so they've not gotten in the weeds. This PPP thing, if they do apply for it, and if they get it, it's only 2.5 times their monthly average payroll. Okay, 2.5 times. Everyone's saying this is going to last a lot longer than 2.5 months. And by the way, that's not going to come for weeks down the road. Let's be real. It ain't coming next week. It ain't coming the week after. It ain't coming the week after that. It's not coming the week after that. We are weeks away from that happening. And so let's say you do get the 2.5 months, and let's say that this lasts for 4 months, but you've had 0 revenue. My friends, we got to be out there shaking the bushes.
Yeah, not for nothing, Larry, but if it lasts, let's say it lasts a month and a half.
Yeah.
It's not going to be business back as usual.
No, it's going to be a slow ramp up. That's right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And in many ways, in businesses like ours, we have to look at them like it's an absolute startup operation again. We have to fill the kitchens again. We've got to get new inventory. We've got to bring people back and train them again. You don't just open a restaurant and day one you're back to running at whatever capacity you were running before. There's a ramp up. So you're right. So I hope that we're all out there trying to help each other. This is why I'm begging people that when this is over, let's just swamp swamp's the right word nowadays. Let's just make sure that we are putting as much of our hard-earned capital into small businesses around the country as we can. By the way, there are some businesses that are flourishing right now, absolutely flourishing right now. And you know who they are, right? A lot of the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world. And nothing against them. I'm just saying, because they have the logistics and infrastructure, and they're the ones who provide a lot of the needs that we have. But that's a tiny fraction of a percent of the businesses.
Well,
there's millions. For everyone that's surviving, there's millions that aren't.
What I see, Larry, and is some unbelievable things happening. I see people re-engineering their businesses, coming up with out-of-the-box ideas. I see some people making more money now than they ever did before. Yeah,
and good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
And these are the times I kick myself that I have a brick and mortar business where people have to come in my doors for me to make money. Believe me, I see it all the time. So my twin brother, who's an awesome entrepreneur as well, he's an amazing world-class martial artist. And he had to pivot on a dime to start teaching martial arts remotely via video camera. I've got a friend named Bedros Keuilian, who's the founder of Fit Body Boot Camp, and they've got 600 or 800 franchises around the world where they do personal fitness training. They had to pivot on a dime so that their franchisees still had a training model so that they could be making money. So you're right. Some absolutely amazing things are coming out of this for sure. So
if you're one of those,
I'm bullish on America. I'm bullish on the economy long term. I'm bullish on it, but there is still the short term pain that we are all going through right now.
yes, yes. All right, Mr. Broughton. Anything else?
Joe, I love you. Thank you for doing this. I really do. It's a bold step that you did to ask me to come on here. It is, and I respect you for that. Thank you.
Anytime, Larry. Just let me know anything that I can do. I will be spreading the word for you.
Thank you.
And you got me.
All right, buddy.
All right, Larry. God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks. You too. God bless everybody. We'll see you. Let's go get them.
Bye.